guys, Frightener22 here. Welcome back to day 30 of my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon. Tonight we're going to take a look at the 1966 television special, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Now I understand this was a lot of people's, a staple for them growing up around Halloween time. I think a lot of people are, heavily into watching this around Halloween time to really get into the spirit, but interestingly enough, I had bought the 1960s collection of Peanuts, as you can see over here, and I had more or less done it on a blind buy, because as much as I was always familiar with the Peanuts gang, and Snoopy, of course, growing up, I just don't really, they just never really struck a chord with me so much as a child. It's not that I was ever against watching them. I just don't feel like I ever watched them much as a child, and I don't think I ever developed that much of, an attachment for the Peanuts gang. So one day, walking through Target, I figured I was trying to collect some really interesting and unique choices to review for the marathon, and then It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown just, immediately popped into my head, so I just did a blind buy on the whole 1960s collection, and I really have developed, this huge love and, admiration towards Peanuts in general, so, it's one of those things where people are like, when they see something that, a lot of people loved growing up and they try and introduce it to, more and more fans as the years go on, people are always, sometimes on the borderline of things saying, oh, it was good, but I feel like I probably would have enjoyed it more, had I been younger. When, in truth, though, I don't really operate that way. If something's good, whether, it was made, years and years ago, and it's really made for a younger audience, it doesn't bother me. I mean, my personality and, the way that I really, perceive things, it just matters on if it's, a fun and intriguing story, and that's exactly what, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown is. It's just a really fun, simple, lovable story that involves the Peanuts gang. So, the nutshell version of this is that it's pretty much about the Peanuts gang celebrating Halloween while the character Linus is awaiting the arrival of the Great Pumpkin, who he believes is this giant pumpkin who scours, the best-looking and most sincerest pumpkin patch all around to, and if he finds that, then he offers tons and tons of presents to, the kids near it. So everybody in the Peanuts gang thinks that Linus is, completely bonkers because he's done this, as it turns out, every year, and he misses out on, all the candy and all the parties that go on Halloween. So everybody just thinks he's pretty hopeless. It's a really, short, runs about 25 minutes, but it's very simple and it's really charming. I always, really have dug, as much as I wasn't huge into Peanuts, as I had mentioned, I always dug the animation that was utilized in Peanuts. I just thought there was something fun and simple about its spirit that I just, have really grown really attached to. Furthermore, I really like how these characters talk. I mean, they're these little kids, but they just talk so overly, intellectual for their age, and that's something that I don't think has really ever been done, or at least done as well as Peanuts ever did. And I just think it's so funny hearing these little kids talking, just so intellectually for their ages. I think it's a riot, truthfully. So, moving on, I mean, that's basically the gist of the story, and it is, just filled with a ton of fun scenes. I mean, it really, has that great Halloween vibe of, the Peanuts gang in costumes, and, them trick-or-treating and candy. It's just a lot of fun. So I think it's really, now that I've finally seen it and have developed a love for it myself, it's really understandable and almost obvious to me now as to why it has become such a staple for people, around the Halloween season. Some minor things that I would like to add, I mean, with any Peanuts special, I mean, it's always just, kind of a given that there's always going to be that scene where, where Lucy tries to con Charlie Brown into kicking the football, and of course always removing it. But in this one, Lucy actually, cons Charlie Brown into kicking it because she has a letter, a signed letter of documentation. So Charlie Brown thinks, well, with a signed letter of documentation, how can he lose, right? And of course, that bitch Lucy moves the football, and then he falls again, and she, she yells at him that, the document wasn't notarized, so that's why it was completely fine for that fucking whore to move the football. I don't understand what she gets out of moving the football from Charlie Brown every time. All he wants to do is hit the fucking football, so just let him. So, moving on, I mean, another thing that, the thing is, Lucy just has a huge bug up her ass. You figure that it's Halloween, spirits are running good, there's candy, there's parties. It's like, why do you have to be such a fucking drag? Everybody is on Linus's ass in this episode, saying that, his desire to, see the Great Pumpkin arrive is just really lame, and everybody thinks that he's stupid about it. It's like, dude, lay off the kid. Like, if he wants to sit in a fucking pumpkin patch all night, let him do it. If nothing comes, then it's on him. Who cares, But, it's really funny. I mean, it's just, kind of hilarious how Linus just, feels so, he just feels so passionate about seeing this Great Pumpkin, and he keeps, explaining himself by saying that, he is, settling in the most sincerest of all pumpkin patches. It's just, every character, in this, all jokes aside, is just, they're really cute, they're really lovable characters, so it's really easy for you to, crack a smile listening to each of these characters converse and, spill their guts and, just catch them in conversation. It's just really funny, and it just has this, undeniable charm that, many, cartoons have never been able to capture since. So it's really wonderful. Moving on to some, some interesting fun facts. In the, throughout the duration of, this special, there are obviously scenes where the Peanuts gang, minus Linus and, Sally, because Sally ends up, sticking by Linus to sit in the Great Pumpkin Patch, the pumpkin patch that Linus is residing in. Maybe Lucy could take a fucking, some hints from Sally and kind of be there for her brother next time, but she's a whore, so whatever. The thing that's funny is that, Charlie Brown, as they're going around from house to house, Charlie Brown just keeps getting rocks instead of candy. He's the only one that seems to be getting rocks. So, after the special had aired, children all over the country were actually sending Charlie Brown, whether it had been to NBC or what have you, but they, out of sympathy, they were sending Charlie Brown candy because they felt so bad for, this animated character that was just receiving rocks on Halloween. So I think that's just, incredibly sweet and, just kind of deepens the charm to, how the Peanuts gang affects youth, back then and even still to this day. So, also interesting to note, the child actress that played the role of Sally, she was in the middle of finishing recording her dialogue for the special, and her mother had called the producers telling her that she had a loose tooth. So the producers had rushed her in to the recording studio to finish up her dialogue in fear that, her losing her tooth could possibly develop a minor lisp that would kind of off-kilter, the dialogue that had already been recording. So as the child actor was, recording the last few lines of her dialogue, the loose tooth actually spit out right in the middle of dialogue. So I thought that was really entertaining and funny to know that that's exactly what they were trying to, they were trying to beat that, beat it to the punch, and it happened right as they finished, like in the process of finishing. So, all that said, I think this is a really phenomenal special, and I'm so happy that I, just did a blind buy on it, because I really have, discovered this really new love for the Peanuts gang and all of their specials. So, if you guys have never seen, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, I highly recommend checking it out this Halloween season. It's fun for literally all ages. I mean, I can't even imagine anybody that would not have, fun or at least crack a smile during this 25-minute special. It's really that fun and really sweet and charming, so definitely give it a try. As always, thanks again for tuning in to my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween marathon, and tune in tomorrow for the final review of the month. What will it be? Tune in tomorrow to find out. This is Frightener22.